AI Cinematic Haze. DaVinci Resolve version 20.2 just came out with the new features in the color page called the AI Cinematic Haze. Basically, it just generates artificial haze inside your footage. Just a little tweak that make your footage look even better. Without wasting any more time, let's dive into the video of AI Cinematic Haze. So right here, I got a couple of footage that I shot on my phone, shot on the camera, and then I have applied a AI Cinematic Haze over it. And I'm gonna walk you through how to apply it and also what effects does it give, and how to make it better, and also the limitation of the effect. Alright guys, right here I got 4 footage, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 of them shot on my iPhone on ProRes mode, and 2 of them shot on my GS6 and Vlog. And you can see when I shoot it ProRes, it's basically Apple log, and it pretty much retained most of the shadow detail, which is very good. And then right here also the shadow, we got a little bit of shadow detail right here, even though it's kind of noisy, but that's fine. And then these 2 are daylight scenes, so we don't need to worry too much about this one. So let's go into the color tab and let's restore this. Let's change this Apple log back to Rec 709. Right here I have a LUT that converts my Apple log back to Rec 709. If you shoot on your iPhone and also in ProRes, you can easily download this LUT in the Apple website. They give it out for free. So right here, when we convert back to Rec 709, you can see the dark part are a little bit too dark, but that's okay. We can just add another color node and just bring the global back a little bit, just a little bit, because, shadows are shadows and the highlights are highlights. And then we're gonna Alt S to create a new node. And then right here, let's search for Cinematic Haze, and just drag and drop right here. And right away, it's workable already, but we want to make it more, towards our taste. We want to come here to the depth map preview, and we want to control our fog, basically where our haze starts and ends. And then we're going to start with the near gamma. That's a little bit too far. And then we got a far limit. We can tone it down to the negative space and, kind of reveal what we see here. And then let's give it a little bit of near and a far. Let's give it more far. Right now, we're just looking at that map preview and, kind of set where things are. I mean, right now it looks pretty good, right? For me, it looks pretty good already. Yeah, this is how, haze supposed to look like. And just close this depth map preview, and this is where you control your haze, like the depth of the haze using depth map. The cinematic haze is also using the AI feature of the depth map. So right now here we got a depth map, and we can close this right here. And right here below we got atmospheric scattering, light halos, light rays, air disturbance, and these are the tools that we can stylize our haze. So right away, we're going to start with air light. Let's bump up the air light, and then we can see. So yeah, air light is just, putting light pollution into our haze. Like we can decrease it, we can increase it however we want. Like the more air light we got, the more foggy it's going to become. And then we can also control the density. And then resolution loss, you can basically just leave it at that. But if you want more, you can also add a little bit of resolution loss. Like when you zoom in to a certain part of the image, and then you can kind of see what it does to your image. So I like to leave the resolution loss as is, and let's go back to fit. And then right here, we can colorize our atmospheric scattering. So for example, your scene is kind of moody. We can go with a little bit of blue look, or maybe like you're color grading for a cyberpunk scene. We can go for purple. A little bit of purple or a little bit of teal. You can go with your likings. For now, we can go a little bit of blue, because we can just kind of mirror that moonlight is scattering inside our haze. All right, just click OK, and right now we got a blue haze. Right, blue haze. And light halos is how the highlights behave in your haze, and we can also control this threshold, Light halos are obviously affecting the brighter part of the image. For example, this part of the image and also this part, and also right here is also kind of bright. Like if you want to see what it's really doing, we can reduce the size to the smallest, and then we can kind of see everything is kind of haloing. It looks pretty dope actually, like this. And then we can also control the threshold, like how much highlight does it take to let the halo appear. You know, I think right there is pretty good. Right there, it's light, it's haloing. Brightness, saturation, you can play with them, it's alright. And then for light rays, if you have a direct light like shining through a tree or a window, we can enable light rays. And because this is shot on my iPhone, my lens is kind of greasy, so it has a little bit of light rays on it. We can also enable light rays right here. We also can control the angle of the light rays and also the threshold. We can turn down the threshold and we can see light rays everywhere. I mean, you can stylize your scene with this effect if you are going for that dreamy look. I think light rays is a very good tool that you can use to, you know, achieve a very, very dreamy look right here. But right now we're not going for that, so I'm just gonna disable light rays and also air disturbance. Air disturbance is a very helpful if you have some types of, for example, if fog or a really, really dense haze. Let me just show you. Like, let's enable disturbance and we can preview them, and this is how it looks like. So without the disturbance, the haze is going to look like this. This is without the disturbance. And then with disturbance, the haze is going to look like this. It adds a detail into the fog. And then right here, we got tools to tweak it, darker, brightness, scale. You can scale the haze, and then detail, how detailed you want it to be. And also flow direction. Flow direction, let's say -90. And then flow speed, let's give it 0.1. And let's play back the footage. So you can see the air disturbance is actually flowing in 90 degrees and with a speed of 1. Let's make this more obvious so that you can see 0.5. There you go. This is our haze. We got haze moving, and we also got sieve rate. Like the haze is moving, and sieve rate is make the haze move with the air. So this is kind of what it seems. You can see it's kind of moving, right? And right here, a very useful tool also is this tool right here. It says Follow FX Tracker. And how we're going to use that is we're going to enable this, and then we can go down here to the tracker. This is the FX tracker, and then let's set some tracking points. For example, we want to track this traffic light, and another one just to track this light right here. So because we shot this footage handheld, so 2 tracking points to, you know, to see the pan and roll of the camera. Let's change it back to feed, and we can click these 2 arrows right here to track forward and backward. We can zoom in and see how it tracks. So after the tracking, we can enable this disturbance again, and then we can see the preview, and we can let's play back, and you can see the haze. Okay, right now it's moving a little bit too fast. Okay, let's give the flow speed to 0, and then let's play back a little bit. And you can see the fog is actually moving with the camera. It's not just a static haze. So right here, we want to talk about the limitation of the cinematic haze, and it is this thing right here. So let's play it back and you can watch it carefully. You see this thing is flickering really, really bad right here. And this is just the AI unable to, you know, determine the distance of the object. So it's going in and out of the depth map. Maybe in future updates, Resolve will, you know, kind of fix this issue, because sometimes it's just there and it's not. And then we can also, we can turn this off. We can kind of see the fog kind of fades in and out right here. But the other part of the image is fine actually. So let's see, with and without the fog, it just adds a different kind of mood into our visual. So same thing with this image. We shot this on iPhone ProRes. We can just Control C this thumbnail right here and then paste right here and paste everything over. And then it's a little bit too bright. We can just, you know, bring this down a little bit. Let's see, turn the effect on and off. So yeah, this is kind of what it looks like, you know, with 2 different scenes. And right here, we have a scene that shot on GH6. We can, of course, just paste the grade right here. We can paste the grade right here, and we're going to change this to color space transform, and then Panasonic V gamut, Rec 709 2.4. And this is, we can turn this cinematic haze off for a second, and let's play through what it looks like without the cinematic haze. And then here is what it looks like with the haze. And of course, we can go in and also colorize the haze to a little bit of a sunset feel, kind of like this. Look, it looks fine. And we just plot it back. It looks pretty good. And we can also come here to the air disturbance. We can enable air disturbance, close the preview, and you know, just see the air disturbance. It looks pretty good. It adds a style to the image. It actually like soften up the background a little bit, and it just make your footage a little bit more better looking. See, right now it's playing back at 9 frames per second, even though my laptop is running at 3080 Ti. So this feature is gonna take up a lot of GPU power. So yeah, so it's gonna take a lot of time to render too. So right here I have another scene. We can just copy this one right here and, you know, paste it here. And then right here, maybe I want to go with something like driving through a foggy mountain type of look. Colorize, let's have it at, you know, white or maybe green, a little bit green. And, you know, hazy mountains are supposed to be green, I guess. Hazy mountains. And then right here, let's go with the depth map preview, and then we're gonna make this fog like just outside the window. So for the depth map, we're gonna have black like most of the inside of the car. I think like this is good. And then a little bit more with the far limit, like the fog is just right outside the car. Let's close this depth map review. Right now it looks a little bit too much. Okay, let's colorize. Let's change it back to pure white. We want to make this looks like a foggy mountain. So the air light, we can like bump up the air light right here. Density, bump up the density right here. Resolution loss. We can have a little bit more of resolution loss right here. We don't need too much halo. And light rays. We don't need light rays actually, to be honest. So gamma, we can bump up the gamma just a little bit. I think that's kind of like one of the use tools that you can use. Like for example, you have a drone shot of a hazy mountain and a car entering the fog. But in another shot that you shot inside the car, it's actually like 12 in the afternoon and the fog just gone, and you have to recreate that fog scene. I think this is a very nice tool to use. And also right here, this is the limitation of the cinematic haze. It's just hard flicker at the edge of the window right here. This is solvable. You can just like punch into her face and, you know, avoid that part of the image, and you can kind of hide it where the limitation comes into view. So there you have it, guys. AI Cinematic Haze in Resolve 20.2. What do you think about this feature? Do you think it's gonna be a life-changing effect in your workflow? Let me know in the comment down below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing for more video like this. I'll be going through all the secret settings that I will go through if I was on a new computer and a new DaVinci Resolve. So make sure you click this video right here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.